Greetings once again, noble viewers of the realm. 'Tis I, King Arthur, returned not from Avalon, but from the archives of rather dramatic maritime chaos. Now you've heard of epic land battles, knights clashing steel and all that. But today, we set sail for something far grander, wetter, and considerably more explosive, the Battle of Lepanto, 1571. Yes, the one where the Christian world feared it might quite literally drown under Ottoman sails. Hold fast, for this tale is soaked in blood, gunpowder, and just a touch of papal anxiety. But before we hoist the sails and aim our cannons, may I ask you, if you're the kind of noble soul who appreciates history with a bit of personality, consider subscribing to this channel. Give that like button a jolly jab if you enjoy tales of war, and do leave a comment at the end telling me which historical naval disaster you'd like me to dissect next. Right. Onward to Lepanto. So picture it. The year is 1571. Europe is looking increasingly nervous, sweating into its ruffled collars as the Ottoman Empire, yes, that great Eastern powerhouse, expands westward. The Mediterranean? It was their playground. Their fleet, the largest and most experienced afloat, had already taken Cyprus and was eyeing the rest like a greedy noble eyeing someone else as roast pig. Enter Pope Pius V. Now this was no passive pontiff. No, he was determined not to watch Christendom be swallowed by the sea. So he organized a little get-together called the Holy League, basically a bunch of very nervous Catholic states, Spain, Venice, the Papal States, and a few others, agreeing to stop arguing long enough to punch the Ottomans in the triremes. Notably, at the helm of this floating alliance was Don Juan of Austria, a 24-year-old Spanish admiral, illegitimate half-brother to King Philip II, and owner of both swagger and divine timing. Now, Don Juan wasn't just bringing swords and prayers. He brought innovation. This wasn't your average fleet. The Holy League's galleys were armed to the teeth, packed with musketeers, artillery, and some frankly deranged willingness to board enemy ships and stab everything that moved. Meanwhile, the Ottomans, under the veteran commander Ali Pasha, had a slightly larger fleet, but fewer guns and a tendency to rely on archers and boarding tactics that were beginning to show their age. The battle took place in the Gulf of Patras, near Lepanto, modern-day Greece. And dear viewer, it was pandemonium. Over 400 ships, tens of thousands of men. The sound of cannon fire, the clash of steel, the screams, it must have sounded like the devil's orchestra. At first, the Ottomans pushed hard. Their right flank actually routed part of the Christian left. But Don Juan's center, anchored by 6 giant Venetian galleasses, massive floating gun platforms, ripped into the Ottoman heart with such ferocity that even Neptune himself would have taken cover. When Ali Pasha's flagship attempted to break the line, Don Juan rammed him straight in the hull and boarded. What followed was less a naval engagement and more a floating tavern brawl. Ali Pasha, dead, his head hoisted on a pike. Subtle, I know. The Ottoman fleet collapsed shortly after. Over 200 of their ships were captured or sunk, and around 30,000 of their men never made it home. The Holy League, triumphant, though bloodied. It was the first major defeat of the Ottoman navy in over a century, and it sent shockwaves across the empire and Christendom alike. But here's the twist. Militarily, Lepanto changed very little. The Ottomans rebuilt their navy in less than a year. Cyprus remained lost. The Holy League disbanded shortly after, as alliances tend to do when there is no immediate enemy in sight and everyone remembers they actually hate each other. Yet symbolically, it mattered. Lepanto proved the Ottomans could be beaten. That technology, guns over arrows, discipline over chaos, mattered. And that a united Christian fleet could just once set aside their squabbles to actually achieve something spectacular. Even Cervantes, the writer of Don Quixote, fought at Lepanto and claimed it was the greatest event that past centuries have seen. So next time someone tells you sea battles are dull, remind them of the time 2 superpowers turned the Mediterranean into a cauldron of shattered wood and cannon. smoke, and how one 24-year-old with questionable legitimacy reminded the world that the tides of war can turn when least expected. Until next time, brave souls, remember to like, subscribe, and comment which glorious disaster or forgotten conquest you'd like me to unpack next. This has been King Arthur reminding you, history isn't dead. It just smells a bit salty.